Well, I want to thank you, the organizers of this great symposium, for having me here today. I'm an ophthalmologist that practices refractive surgery in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it's an honor to moderate here today with two CEOs and two practicing ophthalmologists. We have Keith Mullowney, CEO of Clarity, and we have also Tom Frinzi with WaveTec, and we have Steve Slade, and we have Mark Packer. And it's an honor to be on this panel with you all. And let's spend some time talking about really the current state of intraoperative aberrometry and what we believe its future impact is going to be. These are my disclosures. I'm not a paid consultant with either one of these companies. I do use the WaveTec device, and I have for approximately 3 years, and we're going to talk some about that. But let's talk about the technology. An idea whose time has come is powerful, and I would put intraoperative aberrometry into that category. And just hold that thought for a little bit. An aberration is basically an optical defect, and since we have a lot of practicing ophthalmologists here and we have people from all aspects of industry, we know there's different aberrations that we deal with. Myopia, when our natural lens and our cornea focus too much, the focal point happens too soon and we get blur. With hyperopia, our cornea and lens don't focus enough. And so technically or theoretically, the focal point would be behind the eye. Astigmatism, there's multiple focal points. And, you know, they don't really have a choice how they're born with an aberration or an aberration-free optical system. But when they decide to have surgery on their eye, they do have a desire for that focal point to be as close to the retina or on the retina as possible. And I think that's really something very important, since I spend my career trying to make that focal point happen where we want. And premium cataract surgery has taken us to another level of patient expectations. And I define premium cataract surgery as a premium implant. I use the crystal lens a lot, I use the multifocals a lot, and I find that premium cataract surgery is not flat in my practice. And I think if you talk to a lot of refractive surgeons, it's not flat. And I think one of the main reasons is because of these advanced implants. The other aspects to premium cataract surgery are the femtosecond laser, the intraoperative aberrometry, and then being able to, if they're on the 5-yard line, it isn't quite a touchdown, to take them in for a touchdown with an excimer laser enhancement or an astigmatic keratotomy. That's how I define premium cataract surgery. And when Bill Link today started talking about, you know, how it takes so long to get things approved and it costs so much money, and he's, you know, was feeling a little faint on whether or not to continue that journey, my knees got weak because when I thought about it, a lot of you in this room, including Bill, have been very influential in developing all 4 aspects of premium cataract surgery, and I, for one, want to thank you and my patients, and please don't give up on you know, that journey to continue to bring advanced technology, because in my practice, it's literally led to a renaissance in cataract surgery. I always focused a lot with, you know, working on the cornea and phakic IOLs and some refractive cataract surgery, but what's happened the last 5 years has just exploded, and for a lot of refractive surgeons that do cataract surgery, these components have been extremely important. And I think one of the keys is actually to work with the rest of ophthalmology how to feel comfortable with all this technology, because we have wonderful technology at our fingertips. And in our practice, we call it refractive laser-assisted cataract surgery, RELAX. And intraoperative aberrometry plays a very important role in having that refractive outcome be what we want it to be. And I've heard Dr. Lindstrom say for years that cataract surgery is the most powerful form of refractive surgery. And when we think about it, we're removing a third of the focus power of the eye. And our patients, they approach this rather simply. They want to see clearly at all distances, some with glasses, some without, but the bottom line is they want their implant to be the proper power, and they want it to serve their needs. And when they find out that really we got some fancy formulas and fancy ways of preoperative measurements like Dr. Holliday taught us, but when there's really still a guess in that effective lens position, that's a little unsettling to patients. And I like my patients to know these things because I want them to know about the technology that I have to address it. And when they start to compare it to LASIK, because a lot of these cataract patients never had LASIK, and they, didn't want to have really elective surgery. But now that they need surgery because they got a cataract, they want it to be the best it can be, and they've heard a lot about LASIK. And when we look at these results that Dr. Slade has taught us, that phacoemulsification has not nearly the outcomes of LASIK, and our patients are expecting LASIK-type outcomes, and especially when they find out that some surgeons are going with advanced technology, advanced implants, and ways of measuring in surgery, it's a major differentiator, and the patients are very attracted to it. And when they find out, the ones that have had LASIK, that their LASIK throws off the actual implant surgery, and they're now potentially going into a surgery that's not going to be nearly as accurate as what they went through with LASIK, they're even more unsettled. So the idea of being able to measure the power of their eye in surgery is really powerful to these folks, because they had LASIK once and they want LASIK-like results after cataract surgery. So aberrometry becomes very important, the measurement of refractive error. And in clinic, we've been doing it for years. We got the 4-opter, we got the autorefractor, we got wavefront analysis. We got numerous ways to measure refractive error. But in surgery, well, we have nothing until now. And so for decades, it's been really a drum roll. You do all these great measurements, you do a great surgery, and then you don't really know until the first day in clinic, and you do the same thing we've done for decades. And that is, we put them behind the 4-opter, and we say, is number 1 better or number 2? And then we find out. And if their implant power is wrong, we either do laser vision correction, which a lot of cataract surgeons don't want to do because they don't have a laser. Or we go back to the operating room and we do another lens, a piggyback, or we do an implant exchange, one of the more stressful procedures to a cataract surgeon and a patient. And so intraoperative aberrometry, this is why it's such a powerful idea whose time has come. And I'd like to spend a little bit of time with a great group, and I want to thank the organizers for putting together this group. And let's talk about the current state and future impact. And we have 2 companies that I know of in this space, one that's been around a while because I've used their technology, WaveTec, and a newer company that's on the horizon, Clarity. And we've got a timeline of intraoperative aberrometry that's been really in development since 2005. But what I'd like to do is spend some time, first of all, having the 2 CEOs tell us a little bit about their companies. And can we start with you, Tom? Sure. Tell us a little bit about WaveTec.
Yeah, no, thank you, Vance. And it certainly has been a fun journey that we've all been on within premium channel cataract surgery. And I first like to just acknowledge the organizers of the meeting for really providing this kind of forum for intraoperative aberrometry to be discussed. I think I would speak for everybody on the panel, Keith and I in particular, that we feel its time has come. And to have this kind of opportunity, I just want to acknowledge and certainly thank you. Relative to our own technology, Vance showed a slide just a moment ago that we've now performed over 30,000 procedures with our technology, and certainly through that experience have learned an awful lot, culminating in the introduction that at this meeting at the Academy I talked about, called the brand new AURA system, or OptiWave refractive analysis. system. And we showed it at the Academy. We started delivering our first devices in January. And it's really been a vast improvement as part of the iterative process of any new technology. And what we're seeing now in practice are capture times less than 10 seconds, and certainly in the coming months, less than 5 seconds. We're seeing accuracy certainly trending toward LASIK-like outcomes. And in many of our practices, we really have become a new standard of care. And last but not least, the way our system works, it's a repository of data. So that kind of data outcomes collection process really enables us on a routine basis to provide our customers with outcomes analysis around visual acuities, accuracy to target, residual cylinder metrics. But more importantly, or equally important, it also enables us to constantly look at our algorithms to ensure that we're putting the best outcomes out there and certainly optimizing and personalizing lens constants for our customers. So in the end, I mean, we think our best days are ahead of us. It's an exciting time to be in cataract surgery, innovation all around us. And we're certainly pleased to play the role we're playing as part of this overall premium cataract surgery experience. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. As far as clarity, can you give us some of an overview of where you're at, Keith?
Sure. So we're new to intraoperative aberrometry, as many of you know, but we're not new to ophthalmology. The company's actually been in ophthalmology and optical research for 17 years. And the company was actually founded by a research physicist from Lawrence Livermore Labs, who was an imaging expert, optics expert. And so much of our early days was actually working for the government in advanced ophthalmic research and optical research. And that's the basic foundation of the company. And an evidence of that is our first product. We are a commercial stage company, and when I mention this product name, many of the ophthalmologists in the office or in the room here will recall that Clarity is the manufacturer of RedCam. And that is the gold standard in digital imaging for pediatric patients around the world. In fact, we're in over 85 countries, and actually that business is just about profitable now. So we are an experienced company that has proven ourselves to be able to develop very innovative proprietary technologies. In the case of RedCam, for example, the typical fundus image, which is usually acquired by a technician, is a 30 or 45 degree shot of the fundus. We can train an unskilled nurse with no ophthalmic expertise, no digital imaging expertise in about 3 hours to capture a 130 degree field of view image in a single shot in a 400-gram baby, which is quite challenging, and that is a result of some very unique electro-optical expertise that we have. So in this case, we're now bringing that core technology to bear in intraoperative aberrometry, and we've actually invented a proprietary form of aberrometry, unlike the earlier technologies, which are all legacy-based and are basically 100-year-old technology. This has been a totally new aberrometer form invented right at Clarity, and it offers, instead of a fixed array of detectors and a process of oversampling, which is slow and has a lot of movement, a single detector that is very fast and can be adjusted. And that means very fast, very accurate, and very reproducible data acquisition, very strong signal to noise, and the ability now to actually stream refractive data real time. So all the ophthalmologists in this room have seen refractive data as a static picture, a topograph, and just the numbers. And as you can see here, it's streaming real time. In this case, this is Dr. Slade orienting a toric IOL, and it's basically been placed 90 degrees out of line. The lens is already in the eye, and he's just rotating it using that little ellipse that you see as it's changing it. If there was a 20/20 or emmetropia, it would be a dot. If there was no astigmatism, it would be a circle. And he's able to just guide it in seamlessly using the real-time aberrometry technology. So it's a guidance tool now, and it's fast. It's instantaneous, on demand.
Thank you, Keith. Well, let's talk about some of the applications. We've alluded to some already, but these presbyopic correcting implants have the patients have elevated expectations. And if we can do anything to, lessen the need for a fine-tune, because we can't fine-tune a refractive implant immediately. We need healing to take place, and I know myself, I wait at least 3 months typically to enhance a refractive implant. So anything that can make that time period better for the patient and have a closer refractive outcome is definitely good. And then post-refractive surgery is also a challenge. Oftentimes, we even see patients with no prior records. And when you're trying to figure out someone's, LASIK that they had that you do not have prior records, it can really throw off your calculations. Very powerful being able to measure in surgery whether or not you have the right implant. And then astigmatism. You've heard a lot about toric implants today, and we also do limbo-relaxing incisions, and actually be able to guide that in surgery is very powerful. But let's talk about this optimization journey of intraoperative aberrometry, because I know Dr. Slade and Dr. Packer have both been leaders in intraoperative aberrometry. Can you guys tell us a little bit about your journey as far as the improvements in accuracy you've seen over the past few years, and what that's meant to your level of relying on it in surgery?
Well, it's been an amazing journey, as pointed out. I just was thinking, I guess I've been working with WaveTec for 7 years now, and initially it was an investigational device, and I was using it in that context and not charging for it, and then it became a commercial device, and there came the moment when I had to say to patients, okay, now instead of $400 for your LRI, it's going to be $750. And I had a partner in my practice who's rather conservative who did not want to do that. He did not necessarily believe in the technology, didn't think he could persuade patients it was worth it. Rich. And so we actually had a time there where there were 2 items on our menu of choices for patients. Wavefront guided LRI or just LRI, and there's this $350 difference. And I thought, well, patients are going to balk at this, they're not going to understand. I was amazed because patients got it right away, and in all that time I only had 1 patient ever question it, and I explained, well, this reduces the chance of your having to come back and have a laser enhancement 6-fold. And this patient was like, okay, fine. And later I published those results in JCRS, so you can all read them there. But by measuring relaxing incisions on the operating table, and if necessary, enhancing those by extending the arcs, I was able to reduce my LASIK enhancement rate after premium IOL surgery from 16% to 3%, which made a tremendous difference in my confidence, in my patient's confidence, and as Vance is saying, it grew my premium IOL practice, and that's what it's all about.
I've been very fortunate in having both devices and working with both companies from a couple of years, several years, and a couple of years. And I'm a believer. Tom will love this. We just got the new Aura device. Yesterday, I did cataract surgery, even though I left yesterday afternoon to come here. So I said, now look, we're just going to use the device on patients that have had previous refractive surgery or premium IOLs. And the rest of those poor suckers, we're not going to use it because I'm going to be rushing and I'm trying to catch this plane. We wound up using on everybody, Tom.
I like that, Steve.
Yeah, I figured you'd like that. The deal is to me, it's especially we have a patient population in Houston where there was a little bit of arcade done back in the 80s. So we have a vast amount of patients, vast number for previous refractive surgery. And this is just way better. So again, I'm a convert. Here's the thought when I think about this. How many of us in the room are baby boomers? Now that means you were born from 1946 to 1964. Raise your hands if you're with me on this one. Okay. So 10, 15 years ago, if you came to me, I had a wonderful procedure for us. LASIK, 95, 96%. Now, if I or one of us, baby boomers, goes to get cataract surgery, it's about half as good. So, what a major disappointment. Anything that will drive the results like this technology will, I'm all for it.
Well, I am too, and when you look at 81% within 0.5 diopters, you start to get closer to those LASIK results that we want to get in our refractive cataract results that our patients expect. And if we talk about where this optimization journey is taking us, what that translates to is we're getting the vast majority of our patients to 20/40 or better with just one treatment. That's very functional vision. We're even getting a lot of them to 20/20 and 20/25. And so these patients, if they're going to need an enhancement, it's not like they're going to need temporary glasses to do that. And usually when patients invest in refractive cataract surgery, they don't want to have temporary glasses. And so being able to make this initial outcome more accurate has been very powerful. I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about post-refractive surgery, since these patients, myopes, get cataracts at a higher rate, and when you're doing refractive surgery and refractive cataract surgery, you do a fair amount of cataract surgery on people that have had previous corneal surgery, whether it be, like Dr. Slade just said, PRK, LASIK, or RK. And I'd like to hear from you, Dr. Packer, how you've been. You do all the great calculations, but in surgery, how much has this technology come to mean to you in post-refractive?
I know this is huge because even if you have all the information, even if you have the pre-LASIK refractions and everything else, and you plug that into the ASCRS calculator on the website and you run all the formulas, you still end up with a range, and it's something like 22 to 24 diopters. That's it. And so what do you do? And so Jack and I were talking about this one time, and I said, well, I picked the second highest because I don't want to pick the highest because that's an extreme, but I'd rather end up myopic than hyperopic, so I picked the second highest. And he's like, well, that's as good as anything else. So I figured, okay. But now by using Aura, I still have that range, but now I pinpoint within that range the best choice. And usually, I'd say 90% of the time, the Aura reading falls within that range. 10% of the time, it's one step outside that range. So if the range is 22 to 24, I might get a 21.5. In those cases, I pick the one in the range that's closest to that. So this is a little bit of a fudge. But having done this now for a couple of years, first with Orange and now with Aura, I'm achieving 20/40 or better in all my post-LASIK eyes. And so it's taken that horrible moment of the 6 diopter refractive surprise on post-op day 1 completely off the field. And that's great because these patients especially paid significant amounts of money earlier on, so they didn't have to wear glasses. Now they're going to have cataract surgery and they're presbyopic and they want a multifocal IOL and they still don't want to wear glasses. And you don't want to have to take them back. Some of them you really don't want to do a laser retreatment on. Their corneas are thin, their corneas look strange. We'd rather leave the cornea alone. So this really takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. It's been a dramatic difference.
Steve, what about you? I found early on with this technology kind of a debate in ophthalmology, how, adding more cost to the procedure. But now that it's gotten more and more accurate, I'm finding this is something that, this is my most common referral from other ophthalmologists now in previous corneal surgery. How about you?
Yeah, what it does, I think it fits with the whole concept of doing absolutely as best as you can for a particular patient, especially the more complex patients, but probably all of them. When it comes down to it, it's going to be hard to turn it off for any patient. It certainly fits with laser cataract surgery. It fits with any high-tech IOL. It fits with any patient with high expectations, which is any baby boomer. So we're, again, I'm enthusiastic about this whole space.
And I just say also, with the relaxing incisions for astigmatism and premium lenses, we have a clear way to derive revenue from that. That's obvious. It's refractive surgery. In the post-LASIK cases, where maybe someone doesn't want a premium lens, and their cornea is essentially astigmatically neutral anyway, they don't need astigmatism correction, we've instituted essentially a refraction fee, because this is essentially a refraction. Refraction is a non-covered service under Medicare, so we can also charge for that, even though it's not essential. It is a refractive service, but it's not like you'd think of refractive surgery, because what we're doing is using it to help calculate the power of the implant. Yeah. But we call it a refraction, and this has been through Corcoran and everybody else, and everybody says that's okay.
Well, I know for us too, it's become more and more important. We operate out of a couple different operating rooms, and my partner, Dr. John Birdall's here, and we actually will coordinate if we both want to operate on the same day. Okay, you go for a while, and you can have the device, and then I'll go for a while. I mean, we're getting very close to where we're going to need 2 devices.
Like that even better.
Well, it's become very important in our practice. As far as toric implants, you know, you guys do a fair amount of torics, and are you using this technology to do intraoperative adjustments?
Absolutely, and I think the clarity video that you show is awesome. I mean, that's amazing.
I like the real time of that. I like the results that we get with torics and LRIs. We tend to do more LRIs with the femtosecond laser just on the thought that if you get a toric today with only monofocal torics available, the patient is missing a chance to get any relief from presbyopia. So we tend to do more, you may too, Vance,
Yep.
since with LensX.
We like to go for it all. That's why we like the presbyopic lenses.
Exactly. So, you know, and once you're using, if you're treating astigmatism, particularly with a patient with a multifocal, and we use multifocals, they're degraded significantly more than a monofocal by astigmatism. So it becomes more important for those patients. And just to avoid, as you were, as Mark was talking about his enhancement rate, you know, remember, if we do an enhancement as ophthalmologists, you still get your click fee. You know, the surgery pack gets open, the phaco pack, the LensX, all that kind of stuff. We don't.
Well, and our reputation goes down because there's this patient who's out there saying, well, I had surgery with Dr. Slade, and now I have to go back for another procedure. I mean, how many people hear that? The other thing,
hopefully not a lot. It's with Dr. Packer.
Only 3%.
You could have made that with Dr. X.
I've found, as I was saying, you know, with Aura, the post-LASIK is great. Sometimes the post-RK are difficult to image because those corneas are so weird. However, in reference to toric lenses, I have had some really good success using toric lenses in post-RK patients who have some central astigmatism within their optical zone. And I would never do this without aberrometry.
Right.
Based on topography or Ks.
Yep.
Crazy, right?
Toric with a patient with cone.
Yeah.
With a cone. I mean, there's just, again, this will enable us. It fits in so nicely with the other stuff. It'll enable us, I think, to take care of all the patients, but particularly the difficult patients. RKs, astigmatism, cones.
I want to show a video. You mind describing this, you adjusting this AK?
Right. Well, this patient had astigmatic keratotomies with LensX, and we're opening them up. And, you know, the nice thing about them is you adjust the energy, they're basically zippered shut, and because they're not completely open, and then you can just come in and open as much as you need. So right at the time, on the table, at the time of surgery, you can dial out as much astigmatism as you need. So it's adjustable at the time of surgery.
And for those of you that were watching that refractive error, the second number here is the astigmatism, and to have it end up at 0.25 diopters at the end of his adjustment, that's when he knew it was time to stop adjusting. And so powerful technology for us to have that intraoperative guidance. And for these toric patients, you know, for us to take these scatograms of showing preoperative astigmatism all over the place, and when we use something like intraoperative aberrometry, how we can tighten up those results postoperatively, and also with our LRI patients, preoperative astigmatism to post-op, it becomes very powerful technology. And Dr. Packer alluded to this publication of his in the Journal of Cataract and Refractive Surgery, but I thought it was very powerful that he was able to reduce his enhancement rate from 16.2% to 3.3% in premium implant patients. And so to conclude, I want to emphasize that premium cataract surgery is not flat in refractive cataract surgeons' practices. It's very robust, and thank you for all the technology in this room that you've influenced the development of, and I want to thank our esteemed panel for participating in a great discussion.
Thank you. Thank you.